The No Dating Rule. Part 1, New Year's Confusion. January 2nd. My mom dragged me out of bed at dawn and shoved me into the bathroom. 30 minutes to shower, dress, and put on makeup. Your future husband is arriving soon. Future husband? I soaked in the bathtub for nearly half an hour before it hit me my mom had arranged a blind date for today. According to her, he was a triple threat, good-looking, smart, and wealthy. Suddenly, I heard voices outside. He must have arrived. I slowly climbed out of the tub and wrapped myself in a towel. Then the bedroom door opened. Without thinking, I assumed it was Mom coming to rush me. I walked out of the bathroom. "I'm coming, no need to." The word rush died in my throat. It wasn't my mom. It was my nearly 30-year-old, devastatingly handsome boss, Ethan Walker. We jokingly called him Walker at work, which was funny since my last name was Parker, almost like we were meant to be paired together. The bedroom door closed behind him. We stared at each other. Mr. Walker. I clutched my towel tighter, tongue-tied. He responded coolly, then slowly walked toward me, stopping in front of me and placing his hand against the bathroom door frame, trapping me against the wall. Company policy, no dating. Did you forget? My heart pounded violently. Not because I was afraid of losing my job, but because my boss was standing way too close. I forced myself to stay calm and pushed him back slightly. "You're too close." Ethan kept staring at me. "Don't change the subject." "I'm not dating anyone," I said quietly. This blind date was just to appease my mom. Ethan's lips curved slightly, though his eyes held no warmth. "You're not dating, you went straight to blind dates." "Mr. Walker, most companies just ban office romances. Why does our company control our personal lives too?" Ethan glanced at me and replied matter-of-factly, "Because I pay your salary." Fair enough. The person who signs the paychecks is always right. Although this policy was unreasonable, we all put up with it because Ethan paid better than industry standard. "Mr. Walker, why are you at my house on New Year's Day?" Ethan glanced at me. "New Year's visit." I tugged at my towel, blushing. "Could you wait in the living room? I'll get dressed and be right out." His gaze followed my hand downward, and he seemed to smirk slightly. "All right." Before changing, I quickly texted my coworker Hannah about this surreal morning. Hannah's reply came fast. "Girl, Ethan's no dating rule only applies to you." I thought everyone except you knew that. That single sentence hit me like lightning. I stared at my phone in shock until Mom's impatient voice snapped me back to reality. In the living room, Ethan sat on the sofa with my parents flanking him, answering every question calmly while leisurely sipping his tea. But the more I listened, the more something seemed off. My parents seemed to think he was my blind date, and Ethan didn't correct them. When my parents asked about his situation, he honestly answered that he owned a company, just didn't mention the company name, or that one of his dozens of employees was me. My parents grew more delighted. Dad even extended the topic to names. "Even your names match perfectly, Ethan Walker and Emma Parker." "Walker?" Mom pushed her reading glasses up in confusion. "Mrs. Chen said his last name was Anderson." My heart tightened, and I instinctively looked at Ethan. But he remained calm. "Ma'am, knocking at the door interrupted him. I rushed to answer it. When I opened the door, I saw an less than appealing face. "Hi, I'm here for the blind date, Mrs. Chen arranged." The man hadn't washed his hair, was about my height, and I could see dandruff when he looked down. His white shirt had visible food stains. I was silent for a few seconds, then quickly pulled him outside and dragged him to the elevator. "Sorry, I have a boyfriend." My parents didn't know this was a misunderstanding. Before he could get angry, I slipped him $100. Thanks for coming. After taking the money, his expression brightened. No problem, I'll be going then. I sighed in relief and hurried back home. Then, under Ethan's slightly surprised gaze, I walked over and wrapped my arms around his neck in front of my parents. Mom, Dad, I have to confess, we fell in love at first sight. After a moment of silence, Mom pushed her reading glasses up and said leisurely, Ethan just told us he's actually your boss. Busted. I looked at Ethan. My boss, who had remained completely composed even when my parents were grilling him, now seemed slightly flustered. His earlobes were noticeably red. While my parents pretended to look away, Ethan whispered through gritted teeth, Your parents are here. Don't make me lose control. The living room fell silent. Mom smiled at Ethan and broke the silence. Ethan, are you married? No. Ethan nodded slightly, looking almost endearingly obedient. Do you have a girlfriend? I got nervous too and sneakily glanced at Ethan. Whether Ethan was single had always been a mystery. Beautiful women often came to the office looking for him, and Ethan seemed to welcome them all. But it was always different women each time. At the question, Ethan glanced at me, then quickly looked away. No, ma'am. I've been single for many years. Mom's face immediately lit up. That's wonderful. Our Emma is single too. She pushed me toward Ethan. What do you think of our Emma? When our eyes met, I got so nervous my legs went weak. I'd been crushing on my boss for so long without showing the slightest hint at work, and now Mom was making it obvious. However, Ethan remained silent on this question. 1 second, 2 seconds. After several seconds, Ethan suddenly looked at me and smiled. Emma's pretty cute. He called me Emma. Mom smiled as she played matchmaker. You two are so perfect together. Your names match. You look good together. Perfect compliments. Mom didn't continue that topic. Seeing Ethan didn't respond, she enthusiastically invited him to stay for lunch and dragged Dad out to buy groceries. Only when I heard the door close did I relax. Mr. Walker. I looked at him with an awkward smile. When my parents try to set us up again, just ignore them. Stay for lunch, though. Mom's sweet and sour ribs are incredible. Ethan picked up his teacup for a sip. Emma. Yes? Suddenly being called by name, I instinctively sat up straight. I watched Ethan look me up and down, then smirk slightly. You look good without makeup. So from now on, stop wearing that smoky eye makeup to work. It's not like I enjoyed doing panda eyes every day. I only started because I once heard him compliment some girl's smoky makeup. The atmosphere grew quiet. Ethan and I sat side by side on the sofa. He drank tea. I drank water. Both silent. Suddenly, my phone vibrated. It was from my persistent admirer and college classmate, Sam Martinez. I'm back in town. Coming to wish your parents a happy new year. I was composing a refusal when knocking sounded at the door. Sam's handsome but slightly dopey face greeted me. He carried bags full of items from fruit to rice, alcohol, and cigarettes. Emma, where are your parents? He familiarly set down his bags. I came straight here after getting back to wish them Happy New Year. I had a massive headache. If Ethan saw Sam and mistook him for my boyfriend, he'd probably threaten to fire me again. But before I could say anything, I turned to see Ethan standing behind me, watching Sam silently, slightly frowning. Sam happily changed into slippers. Probably noticing men's slippers in his peripheral vision, he suddenly dropped to his knees. Happy New Year, sir. Fortunately, I was quick enough to stop him. Dude, look at who you're bowing to first. Sam looked up and stared at Ethan blankly. His expression changed several times before his face went pale. Emma, he is. I looked back at Ethan and answered quietly, "My boss." Sam's expression immediately relaxed. "Oh, Emma's boss." He quickly stepped forward, extending his hand. "Pleasure to meet you." However, Ethan maintained his hands in pockets pose and didn't extend his hand. The atmosphere grew awkward. I glanced at Ethan and tentatively called Mr. Walker. Ethan glanced at me, his expression still cold, but did extend his hand for a brief handshake with Sam. Sam acted like the man of the house, cheerfully leading Ethan back to the sofa. Ethan sipped his tea and asked in a low voice, "And you are?" Sam looked at me and smiled warmly. "I'm Emma's future husband." I spit my tea all over his face. Getting sprayed with tea, Sam wiped his face with the back of his hand. Of course, Emma hasn't agreed yet. In my peripheral vision, Ethan raised an eyebrow. "She won't agree." "Why not?" Sam's smile froze. Ethan held his teacup and didn't even look at him. "Our company doesn't allow dating. Violators get fired." Sam looked at me carefully and said quietly but confidently, "Fire her then. If Emma's with me, I can support her." Ethan raised an eyebrow, sipped his tea, and said nothing. My parents returned from grocery shopping. Seeing Sam on the sofa, they both paused. Sam rushed over to take the groceries. "Uncle, Aunt, you're too kind." Mom quickly glanced at Ethan, awkwardly smiling at Sam without speaking. I was about to go over when someone grabbed my wrist. It was Ethan. He pulled slightly, and I lost my balance, falling into his embrace. He caught my waist and gently pushed me away, whispering, "Does he come here often?" I turned my head away, my face burning. Not really, just during holidays." My blush was from that momentary contact. My waist, where he'd touched, felt warm. I'm not sure if it was my imagination, but when I denied it, Ethan's furrowed brow seemed to relax slightly. Part 2: Complications. Over the next 2 weeks, things at work became strange. Ethan called me into his office more frequently, always for minor tasks that could have been handled via email. "File this report. Review this contract. Bring me coffee." Each time, he'd find some reason to keep me there longer than necessary. "Emma, what do you think of this proposal?" he'd ask, knowing full well I wasn't qualified to judge strategic decisions. Or, "Stay a moment. I need your opinion on something." My coworkers noticed. Hannah cornered me in the break room one afternoon. "Girl, what's going on between you and the boss? He's been acting weird since New Year's." I busied myself with the coffee maker. "Nothing's going on. He's just delegating more." "Delegating?" Hannah raised an eyebrow. "He asked you to organize his desk calendar yesterday." The man is obsessively organized. He doesn't need help with his calendar. She had a point. That evening, Ethan asked me to stay late to help with a presentation. When everyone else left, the office felt different, quieter, more intimate. I sat across from his desk, reviewing slides on my laptop while he made notes. "Emma." I looked up. "Yes, Mr. Walker?" "When we're alone, you can call me Ethan." My heart skipped. That doesn't seem professional. Neither is pretending to be engaged in front of your parents. He looked at me directly. "We crossed that line already." "Fair point." "Ethan," I said carefully, testing how it felt. His name in my mouth, without the formal distance. He smiled a real smile, not the polite professional one. "Better." We worked in silence for a while. Then he asked, almost casually, "Does Sam visit often?" "You asked me that before." "Just holidays, really. He's been my friend since college." Friend. Ethan's tone was neutral, but something flickered in his eyes. "He doesn't seem to think of you as just a friend." Sam's? Persistent. But I've never encouraged him. We're not compatible. What is compatible for you? The question hung in the air. I looked at him, at his focused expression, his elegant hands holding a pen, the way the desk lamp cast shadows across his face. Someone I can't stop thinking about, I wanted to say. Someone who makes my heart race when he stands too close. Someone exactly like you. But I couldn't say that. So instead, someone who sees me. Not just what I can do for them, but who I am. Ethan nodded slowly. And Sam doesn't see you? Sam sees who he wants me to be. His perfect wife who'll let him take care of everything. That's not me. No, Ethan agreed quietly. That's not you at all. The way he said it like he really did see me made my breath catch. The next week, I saw her. A woman arrived at the office asking for Ethan. She was beautiful in an effortless way, designer clothes, perfect hair, confidence that came from years of getting whatever she wanted. I directed her to his office and tried not to watch as Ethan stood to greet her, his hand briefly touching her elbow as he guided her to a seat. Hannah appeared at my desk. That's Victoria Chen, some bigwig's daughter. Rumor is their families want to arrange a marriage. My stomach dropped. Arranged marriage? That's so outdated. For normal people, yes. For the wealthy elite? Hannah shrugged. Still pretty common. Consolidates power, combines fortunes, all that. I tried to focus on my work, but my eyes kept drifting to Ethan's office. Through the glass walls, I could see them talking, her laughing at something he said. After an hour, they emerged together. Victoria touched his arm as they walked casual, familiar, the touch of someone who had every right. Emma. Ethan stopped at my desk. Cancel my afternoon meetings. I'll be out. Of course, Mr. Walker. His jaw tightened slightly at the formal address, but he said nothing. Victoria smiled at me, a smile that didn't reach her eyes, and they left together. I felt sick. That evening, Sam texted, "Dinner?" My treat. For once, I accepted. We met at a small hot pot restaurant near my apartment. Sam was already there, waving enthusiastically when I arrived. Emma. Over here. I slid into the booth across from him. He'd already ordered my favorites, thin-sliced beef, mushrooms, the spicy broth I loved. Rough day? He asked, too perceptive. Is it that obvious? You get this little crease between your eyebrows when you're stressed. He demonstrated, pressing his finger between his own brows. I've known you long enough to recognize all your tells. Maybe you know me too well. Impossible. I could study you for a lifetime and still find new things to love. There it was, his easy declaration, the kind of thing he said without hesitation. It should have made me happy. Any woman would be lucky to be loved so openly. But my traitorous heart kept drifting back to Ethan's office, to Victoria Chen's proprietary touch on his arm. Emma. Sam's voice was gentler. Want to talk about it? About what? About whoever has you looking like that. I sighed. It's complicated. It's your boss, isn't it? When I didn't answer, he continued, I saw how you looked at him. How he looked at you too, actually. It's okay, Emma. You can tell me. Sam. I'm not made of glass. I can handle the truth. He smiled, but it was strained. Is he the reason you never gave me a real chance? No. You're the reason I never gave you a chance. At his hurt expression, I clarified, you deserve someone who loves you back the way you love them. Completely. Without reservation. I couldn't be that person, not because of Ethan, but because the feeling just isn't there. It never was. He was quiet for a long moment. That's actually better than I thought. At least you're honest. You're one of my best friends, Sam. I never wanted to hurt you. I know. He reached across the table and squeezed my hand briefly. So, this boss of yours, what's the complication? Besides the no dating policy? I laughed bitterly. I saw him today with this woman, Victoria Chen. Hannah said their families want them to marry. And you think he'll just agree? Why wouldn't he? She's beautiful, wealthy, probably perfect for him in every way that matters to people like them. Sam tilted his head, studying me. Emma, the man showed up at your house on New Year's. He could have corrected your parents immediately when they mistook him for your blind date. He didn't. Instead, he sat there for hours, charming your parents, drinking tea, pretending. Why would he do that if he's planning to marry someone else? I hadn't thought about it like that. Maybe he was just being polite. Emma. Sam leaned forward. I'm a guy. I know how guys think. No man spends hours at a woman's house, meeting her parents, acting jealous when another guy shows up, unless he's interested. Trust me on this. But he hasn't said anything. And now there's Victoria. So ask him. Directly. Life's too short for assumptions. I looked at Sam, really looked at him. When did you become so wise about relationships? He laughed. Probably from having so much practice at failing at them. But seriously, Emma, if there's even a chance with this guy and he makes you happy, you should take it. Don't let fear make your decisions. The next morning, I arrived at work with new resolve. I would talk to Ethan. Clear the air. Find out where I stood. But when I reached my desk, Hannah was waiting with a concerned expression. Emergency meeting. Conference room. Now. The entire company was already assembled when I arrived. Ethan stood at the head of the table, his expression unreadable. I'm sure you've all noticed some changes around here lately, he began. I want to address them directly, rather than let rumors spread. My heart pounded. This was it. He was going to announce his engagement to Victoria. Effective immediately, we're revising the company's relationship policy. The blanket ban on dating is being removed. Instead, we'll simply require disclosure of any workplace relationships and ensure there are no direct reporting conflicts. Murmurs spread through the room. I sat frozen. Ethan's eyes found mine across the table. The previous policy was overly restrictive and not reflective of modern workplace standards. People should be free to pursue personal happiness without fear of professional consequences. Hannah elbowed me, grinning. After the meeting, people clustered in small groups, gossiping. I returned to my desk in a daze. 10 minutes later, my phone buzzed with a message from Ethan, my office. Please. My hands shook as I walked to his office and knocked. Come in. I closed the door behind me. Ethan stood by the window, hands in his pockets, looking out at the city. You changed the policy, I said stupidly. Yes. Because of Victoria Chen? He turned, frowning. What? No. Because of you. My breath caught. Me? Emma. He walked toward me slowly. I've been trying to figure out how to do this right. How to approach you without abusing my position as your boss. That policy was my own cowardice. If I forbade dating, I had an excuse not to act on my feelings. Your feelings? I'm apparently terrible at this. He stopped in front of me, close but not touching. I like you, Emma. More than professionally appropriate. More than I've liked anyone in years. Probably since the day you walked into my office for your interview and were so nervous you tripped over nothing. I remembered that day how mortified I'd been, how kind he'd been in pretending not to notice. Victoria Chen. I started. Is a business acquaintance whose father wants to merge companies. I've told him repeatedly I'm not interested in an arranged marriage. That I'm interested in someone else. Oh, yes. Oh. His lips quirked. So now the policy has changed, and I'm standing here like an idiot, asking if you'd like to have dinner with me. Not as your boss. Just as Ethan. The vulnerability in his eyes undid me. Yes, I whispered. I'd like that very much. His smile was brilliant. Good. Because I've been losing my mind trying to find excuses to call you into my office just to be near you for 5 more minutes. I know. Hannah noticed. Everyone noticed. He laughed. I'm not as subtle as I thought. No, I agreed, smiling. You're really not. Part 3 beginning. Our first real date was nothing fancy, a small Italian restaurant tucked into a side street, the kind of place where the owner knew everyone's name. Ethan had changed from his usual suit into a simple button-down and jeans. It was jarring seeing him so casual, but also nice, like he'd dropped the armor he wore at work. I was worried you'd choose somewhere intimidatingly fancy, I admitted over pasta. I thought about it. There's this place with a Michelin star where you need reservations months in advance. But then I realized I wanted to actually talk to you, not perform for waiters. This is perfect. And it was. We talked for hours about everything and nothing. His childhood growing up in Boston, my terrible cooking skills, books we loved, places we wanted to visit. I've been thinking, Ethan said as we walked back to my apartment afterward. We should probably tell your parents. Officially. About us? Well, they already think there's an us. Might as well make it real. He paused. Unless you want to wait? No, I laughed. Actually, this is going to sound crazy, but I think they like you more than they like me. Impossible. No, seriously. Since New Year's, my mom calls asking how that nice young man Ethan is doing. She's never asked about any of my actual boyfriends. That's because you have excellent taste in fake boyfriends. I shoved his arm playfully. He caught my hand, lacing our fingers together. We walked the rest of the way in comfortable silence. At my building entrance, Ethan stopped. I should go. Don't want to rush things. Ethan? I gathered my courage. That kiss. At the office, when we were both reaching for my phone. His expression grew serious. I've been meaning to apologize for that. I shouldn't have. Don't apologize. I stepped closer. I wanted to kiss you. I've wanted to kiss you for embarrassingly long, actually. How long? Since you complimented my presentation about 6 months ago and smiled at me like I'd done something impressive instead of just basic competence. He laughed. Emma, you consistently exceed expectations. That presentation was excellent. He paused. For the record, I've wanted to kiss you since you brought me coffee with a sticky note that said, "Don't forget to eat lunch." With a smiley face. No one's cared whether I ate lunch in. I don't remember how long. That was 8 months ago. Yes. We're both idiots. Completely. He cupped my face gently. But I'm trying to do this right. Court you properly. Not rush. I appreciate that. I rose on my tiptoes. But I'm still going to kiss you now, if that's okay. Very okay. This kiss was nothing like the accidental brush at the office. This was intentional, slow, perfect. His hand slid into my hair, mine clutched his shirt, and for a moment, the world narrowed to just us. When we finally pulled apart, both breathing heavily, Ethan pressed his forehead to mine. I should definitely go now. Probably wise. But neither of us moved for several long seconds. The next few weeks fell into an easy rhythm. We kept things professional at work, no special treatment, no obvious favoritism. But after hours, we'd meet for dinner, long walks, late-night phone calls, where we talked about nothing until one of us fell asleep. Hannah appointed herself my relationship advisor. "You need to update your wardrobe," she declared, eyeing my office outfit critically. "You're dating the CEO now." "I'm dating Ethan." "The CEO thing is incidental." "Girl, it's not incidental. People are watching. You need to look like you belong at fancy company events." "What fancy company events?" "The charity gala next month. The quarterly investor dinner. The holiday party." "Should I go on?" I groaned. "I hate fancy events." "Too bad. You're the boss's girlfriend now. It comes with the territory." She was right, of course. The following week, Ethan nervously asked if I'd accompany him to a business dinner. "You don't have to," he said quickly. "I know it's not your favorite thing, but I'd really like you there." "Of course I'll go." His relief was palpable. "Thank you. Fair warning, Victoria will probably be there. Her father's on the board. I can handle Victoria." I said it with more confidence than I felt. The dinner was at an upscale restaurant with more forks than I knew what to do with. I wore the dress Hannah had insisted I buy: simple, black, elegant, appropriate. Ethan's hand found mine under the table as we sat down. "You look beautiful," he murmured. "You clean up pretty well yourself." Victoria arrived fashionably late, gliding in with the confidence of someone who'd attended 1,000 events exactly like this. Her eyes landed on me, then on our joined hands, and something flickered across her face. "Ethan," she said warmly, leaning down to kiss his cheek. "So good to see you." "Victoria?" "This is Emma Parker, my girlfriend." "Girlfriend." The word still gave me butterflies. "Oh." Victoria's smile tightened fractionally. "How lovely. I don't think we've been properly introduced." "We met briefly at the office," I said politely. "Right. You work for Ethan." She made it sound like a hobby. "I work at the company, yes." Dinner was exactly as awkward as I'd feared. Victoria monopolized the conversation, name-dropping mutual acquaintances and referencing events I hadn't attended. Each comment was a subtle reminder that she and Ethan moved in the same circles I didn't belong to. But Ethan kept pulling me back into the conversation, asking my opinion, touching my hand, making it clear where his attention was focused. During dessert, Victoria excused herself to the restroom. I started to follow girl code, but Ethan caught my wrist. "You don't have to." "I know, but I should probably play nice." In the restroom, Victoria was reapplying lipstick. She met my eyes in the mirror. "You must be very special," she said finally. "Excuse me?" "Ethan. I've known him for years. He's never brought a date to these things. Never even mentioned being interested in anyone." She capped her lipstick. "Then suddenly there's you, and he changed the entire company policy." "I didn't ask him to do that." "I know. That's what makes it remarkable." She turned to face me. "I'm not going to pretend I'm happy about this. I had plans that included Ethan. But he's clearly made his choice. Victoria, don't." She held up a hand. "Don't apologize or try to make me feel better. Just be good to him. He deserves someone who sees him as more than a meal ticket or a status symbol." It was the most genuine thing she'd said all night. "I do see him. The real him." "Good." She walked past me, then paused at the door. "For what it's worth, he looks at you like you hung the moon." I've never seen him look at anyone like that. A month later, Sam called asking to meet for coffee. We sat in our usual cafe, the one near campus where we'd studied for finals years ago. "I have news," Sam said, looking nervous and excited. I'm moving. New job in Seattle. Seattle? That's across the country. I know. It's a great opportunity, promotion, better pay, new challenges. He stirred his coffee. And honestly, Emma, I need the distance. From here, from you. My heart ached. Sam. It's okay, he said quickly. Really. I'm okay. But seeing you with Ethan, seeing you happy, it made me realize I've been using you as an excuse. An excuse not to move on, not to try with anyone else. If you weren't available, I could tell myself that's why I was alone. That's not, it is. And it's not fair to you or to me. He smiled, and this time it reached his eyes. I need to find my own happiness instead of waiting for yours to fail. Because it's not going to fail, is it? I thought about Ethan, about how right everything felt with him. No, I don't think it will. Good. Sam reached across the table and squeezed my hand. Be happy, Emma. Really, truly happy. That's all I ever wanted for you. I want that for you too. I know. I'll find it. Just need to actually look. He released my hand. We'll stay in touch, right? You'll visit Seattle? Of course. You're still one of my best friends. Good. Because you're stuck with me, just from a safer distance. We talked for another hour about his new job, his plans, the future. When we finally said goodbye, the hug lasted a long time. Thank you, I whispered. For everything. For all these years. Thank you for being honest. Even when it hurt. He pulled back, grinning. Now go home to your boyfriend before he worries I'm trying to steal you back. He knows better. Does he? The man looked ready to murder me with a teaspoon last time I saw him. I laughed. I'll let him know you're moving to Seattle. Maybe he'll relax. Good luck with that. That evening, I told Ethan about Sam's news. We were at his apartment. I'd been spending more time there lately cooking dinner together. Seattle, Ethan repeated, chopping vegetables with suspicious focus. Yes. Good opportunity for him. You're relieved he's leaving, I accused. I am not. You are. You're doing that thing where you pretend to be very interested in what you're cooking. He set down the knife and turned to me. Fine. I'm relieved. Sam's a good guy, and I genuinely wish him well. But yes, having your persistent ex-admirer across the country makes me feel better. Jealous? Absolutely. He pulled me close. He's loved you for years. Had all that time with you that I didn't. So yes, I'm jealous. Irrationally. Possessively jealous. I kissed him. He never had me. Not really. You know that, right? I know. Doesn't make the jealousy logical. He kissed me back, slower. But I'm working on it. Work faster. He laughed against my lips. Bossy. You like it. I really do. Dinner burned while we made out in his kitchen like teenagers. We ordered takeout instead and ate it on his couch, my feet in his lap, talking about everything and nothing. I think I'm falling in love with you, Ethan said suddenly, quietly. I set down my food. You think? No. I know. I'm falling in love with you, Emma Parker. Actually, I think I already have. My heart felt too big for my chest. Good. Because I'm definitely falling in love with you too, Ethan Walker. He pulled me into his arms, and we stayed like that for a long time, just holding each other, feeling the weight and wonder of what we were building. 2 months later, Ethan asked me to move in with him. We were at my apartment, which he'd started calling that shoebox you insist on paying too much rent for. It's not that small, I protested. Emma, my closet is bigger than your living room. Your closet is bigger than most people's bedrooms. You're not a fair comparison. He pulled me onto the couch beside him. Move in with me. You're there half the time anyway. Your toothbrush has a permanent spot in my bathroom. Your favorite coffee is in my kitchen. Last week, I found your hair ties in 3 different rooms. I don't leave them everywhere. You do. It's actually adorable. Finding little traces of you around my place. He tucked a strand of hair behind my ear. I want more than traces, Emma. I want you. Fully. Completely. Every morning and every night. Ethan. Too fast? His expression grew uncertain. We can wait if you're not ready. I don't want to pressure you. No, it's not too fast. I want that too. I hesitated. What about work? Is less than #0. 6# is greater than people will talk. Let them talk. We've disclosed our relationship to HR. We're not violating any policies. And honestly, he tilted my chin up so I had to meet his eyes. I don't care what they think. I care about you. About us? When you put it that way, is that a yes? It's a yes. His kiss was long and sweet and full of promise. Moving in together was chaotic and wonderful. Ethan insisted on hiring movers for my minimal furniture, most of which he planned to donate anyway. You're keeping that ratty armchair over my perfectly good leather one? He asked incredulously. That armchair has character. Your leather thing looks like it belongs in a sterile hotel lobby. It's a designer piece. It's uncomfortable and pretentious. He stared at me, then at the chair, then back at me. Fine. The ratty armchair stays. Really? If it makes you happy, then yes. But I'm getting you a proper reading lamp. The lighting in this place is terrible for your eyes. Hannah helped me pack, providing running commentary. You realize you're basically living a romance novel, right? Secret crush on your boss, he likes you back, you end up moving into his penthouse. What's next? A proposal? Hannah, we've only been officially dating for 4 months. So? When you know, you know. Not everyone operates on rom-com timelines. Is less than #0. 6# is greater than Ethan does. That man changed company policy for you. He's already picked the wedding venue in his head, I guarantee it. I threw a pillow at her. My parents were thrilled about the move, though my mother had concerns. Living together before marriage, she tutted over the phone. Very modern. Mom, it's 2025, not 1955. I know. I'm just saying, in my day. In your day, you and Dad lived together for 2 years before getting married. Silence. Then, who told you that? Aunt Susan. At Christmas. After 3 glasses of wine. Mom sighed. Fine. But Emma, are you sure about this? It's a big step. I'm sure, Mom. I love him. He loves you too. I could tell that from the moment we met him. Her voice softened. He looks at you like you're the most important person in the world. He makes me feel like I am. Then that's all that matters. When are you bringing him for dinner? Your father wants to give him the take care of my daughter speech he never got to deliver properly. Oh God, please don't let Dad. Too late. He's already planning it. 6 months into living together, we fell into comfortable routines. Ethan made coffee in the morning while I burned toast. I did laundry while he handled dishes. We took turns cooking, though cooking for me usually meant ordering from different restaurants. Work remained professional. We carpooled, but arrived at different times to avoid gossip. We kept meetings strictly business. I'd occasionally catch him staring at me during presentations, but he was discreet. The office gossip eventually died down. We became old news, just another couple who happened to work together. But at home, everything felt new and exciting. Learning his quirks, his habits, the way he needed exactly 15 minutes of silence after waking up before he could handle conversation. How he worked late into the night when stressed, forgetting to eat until I brought him food. The fact that he sang badly and enthusiastically in the shower. "You're tone deaf," I told him one morning, laughing. "I am not." "Ethan, you just murdered 3 different songs in the span of one shower." "I was not murdering. I was interpreting." "Is that what we're calling it?" He pulled me into a wet hug, getting my pajamas soaked. "You're mean to me." "You love it." "I really do." Our first real fight happened on a random Tuesday. Victoria Chen was hosting a charity gala one Ethan felt obligated to attend as a board member. I'd agreed to go, but as the date approached, my anxiety grew. "I don't belong at these things," I said for the 3rd time, staring at dresses online. "You belong wherever I am," Ethan replied, focused on his laptop. "Easy for you to say. You grew up going to galas. I grew up going to potlucks at the community center." So? "So everyone there will know I don't fit in. They'll look at me and wonder what you're doing with someone so ordinary." Ethan closed his laptop and turned to me. "Emma, you are many things, but ordinary is not one of them. I'm not rich. I'm not from a powerful family. I don't have connections or stop." His voice was sharp enough to startle me. "Is that really what you think matters to me? Money and connections?" "No, but it matters to them." "To your world?" "You're my world." He stood up, frustrated. "Do you really think I care what Victoria or her friends think? I changed my entire company policy for you. I told my mother I was serious about you before we'd even had a real date. I asked you to move in with me after 4 months because the thought of you not being here every day was unbearable." "I know, but nothing. If you don't want to go to the gala, we won't go. I'll make up an excuse. But if you're staying home because you think you're not good enough for me, then we have a much bigger problem." "That's not what I meant." "Isn't it?" His expression softened slightly. "Emma, I need you to understand something. You're it for me. The person I want to build a life with. If these people don't see how extraordinary you are, that's their failing, not yours." I felt tears prick my eyes. "I'm scared." "Of what is less than #0? 6 is greater than that one day you'll wake up and realize you could have someone better. Someone who fits into your life more easily." "Better?" He cupped my face in his hands. "Emma, you are better. You're kind and funny and smart. You call me out when I'm being an ass. You leave me little notes reminding me to take breaks. You made friends with my doorman because you learned his wife was sick and now you ask about her every day. You make me want to be a better person. Ethan, I'm not perfect. My life isn't perfect. But you make it feel that way. So please, stop comparing yourself to some imaginary ideal. You're my ideal." I kissed him then, pouring all my fear and love and gratitude into it. "I'll go to the gala," I whispered against his lips. "Only if you want to." "I want to. Because you'll be there, and that makes it bearable." The gala was actually fine. Victoria was a gracious hostess, introducing me to people without a hint of cattiness. Ethan never left my side, his hand always at my back or holding mine. I met other couples, some from similar different worlds backgrounds. A woman who'd been a kindergarten teacher before marrying into money. A man who'd worked construction before his tech startup took off. "The first few events are intimidating," the former teacher told me kindly. "But you learn to navigate them. And eventually, you stop caring what people think. by the end of the night, I'd actually enjoyed myself. See? Ethan said in the car ride home. You were worried for nothing. I had one person ask if I was a model or an actress, like those were the only options for why I'd be there. What did you say? That I was a consultant. It wasn't technically a lie. My official title was Business Development Consultant. They seemed satisfied. I would have just said you were my girlfriend. You did. Like 15 times. I think people got the message. He grinned. Good. A year after we started dating, Ethan took me back to the place where this all began, my parents' house. Why are we here? I asked as he parked. Your mom invited us for dinner. You forgot, didn't you? I had absolutely forgotten. Mom greeted us at the door with enthusiastic hugs. Dad gave Ethan a firm handshake and the "I'm watching you" look he'd been practicing. Over dinner, which was actually good this time, no Sam to ruin it, my parents asked about work, about our apartment, about our plans. Plans? I echoed. For the future, sweetheart, Mom clarified. You two have been together over a year now. Living together for 8 months. Surely you've discussed the future? I glanced at Ethan, who looked suspiciously calm. We have, he said smoothly. Though I was hoping to discuss something specific tonight, actually. Is less than #0. 6 is greater than, with your permission. My heart stopped. Dad sat up straighter. Permission for what, son? Ethan reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. He turned to me, and suddenly, the world narrowed to just his face, his eyes, the nervous hope in his expression. Emma, I had this whole elaborate plan. I was going to take you to the place we had our first real date. Or maybe back to the office where we first kissed. I even briefly considered the bungee jumping idea. I laughed through sudden tears. But then I realized the perfect place to ask you was here. Where this all started? Where your parents mistook me for your blind date and I went along with it because I was too selfish to leave. Where I first admitted to myself how much I liked you. He opened the box. The ring was perfect, simple, elegant, exactly what I would have chosen. Emma Parker, you've made me happier than I ever thought possible. You've made my house a home. You've made my life full. Will you marry me? Yes, I breathed. Yes, absolutely yes. He slid the ring onto my finger, and I pulled him into a kiss while my parents applauded. Finally! Mom exclaimed. I've been waiting for you to ask for months. I already started planning the wedding. Mom! What? A mother knows these things. Dad clapped Ethan on the shoulder. Welcome to the family, son. Is less than #0. 6 is greater than officially this time. Epilogue 2 years later. The wedding was small and perfect, close friends and family at a garden venue. Hannah was my maid of honor, crying through the entire ceremony. Sam had flown in from Seattle with his girlfriend, a software engineer who matched his energy perfectly. I told you you'd find someone, I'd whispered when he introduced her. You were right. Turns out, when you stop pining for someone unavailable, you actually notice the amazing people around you. My parents walked me down the aisle together. Ethan waited at the altar, looking nervous and happy and so handsome, I almost tripped. Some things never change. Our vows were simple. We promised to love each other on good days and bad. To leave notes and make coffee, and be patient with each other's quirks. To build a life filled with laughter and trust and partnership. When the officiant said, "You may kiss your wife," Ethan dipped me dramatically, making everyone laugh. Show off, I murmured against his lips. You're show off now. The reception was loud and chaotic and wonderful. My parents danced together, still clearly in love after all these years. Hannah got tipsy and gave a rambling toast about how she'd called it from the beginning. Late in the evening, Ethan and I snuck away from the party to catch our breath. Mrs. Walker, he said, testing out the name. I'm keeping Parker professionally, I reminded him. I know. But I like the sound of it anyway. He pulled me close. How are you feeling? Happy. Overwhelmed. Hungry. I barely ate anything. I had them save you a plate. See, this is why I married you. Just for the food? That and your devastating good looks. The personality is just a bonus. He laughed and kissed me, soft and sweet and full of promise. In the distance, we could hear the party continuing music and laughter and joy. Ready to go back? Ethan asked. In a minute. I just want to stay here with you for a bit longer. We have forever, Emma. I know. But I still want this minute too. So we stood there, wrapped in each other's arms, watching the stars come out over our wedding venue, and I thought about how far we'd come from that absurd New Year's Day. From fake blind date to real love story. From boss and employee to partners in everything. From individual lives to one shared future. And I knew, with absolute certainty, that every awkward moment, every misunderstanding, every obstacle it had, all been worth it to end up here. With him, together. Finally. The end.